Nicki Minaj is not a Christian. She knows nothing about a Christian. What she is a grifter.
Neither do
Nicki
you.
Minaj is a pick-me. Nicki Minaj doesn't care about black people.
Here's why I will defend Nicki Minaj. Speaking of rape, Don Lemon. So there's been some, it's, you know what I mean. I just mean that it's a very degenerate group of people. And what I mean by group of people, homosexuals.
I thought you were going to say orgy.
That as well. It's very common in this community. Monogamy doesn't necessarily exist. There's a reason that the PrEP pill commercials entirely include gay men who very much look like Don Lemon, but he's going to tell you how to be a good Christian. So, you know, you have people like Thomas Aquinas, you have Martin Luther, and now you can include in their ranks noted Christian theologian sodomite Don Lemon. So just to set the stage, it looks like Don Lemon might actually catch some charges for what he did because it veered away from journalism into not just activism, but into riots, into protests, into violating other people's foundational First Amendment rights to practice their religion, to freely worship. So we'll get into that a little bit. I think he'll probably skate on it, but I'm also glad that he's being made an example of. Before we get to that, for those of you who missed yesterday, Don Lemon has very strong views on what Christianity is and what it isn't as a noted Christian theologian sodomite.
Jesus Christ, if that's who you believe in, Jesus Christ, admittedly was not perfect when he was here on this earth. So why are we deifying the founders of this country? Maybe Joseph was, this sort of gay guy who said, this woman.
Okay. Everybody pick yourself up off the floor.
Right. I don't want her to die or be stoned to death or whatever because she, got pregnant and she's not married. And then, I am not married and whatever. So, okay, this is kind of perfect. God is not about hindering people.
But not Jesus.
Or even judging people.
One thing that would really, I believe, change America is if we realize that Jesus probably looked more like Qasim than like any of us here. And that we had to get rid of this sort of white surfer guy and really have a truer depiction of what Jesus is for Christians. And that way, I think it would be kind of country altering, if not world altering, because you even had that in the, if you go to Europe, if you go to Italy, you go to the Vatican or whatever, Jesus is like a surfer white guy.
So the reason that I'm showing this to you is because remember, Don Lemon yesterday, he was saying, well, I am a Christian. And then he tries to tell you how to be a Christian. Just remember this. Whenever the left tries to tell you, hey, X is unconstitutional, they're lying to you. They don't care about constitutionality. When they try and tell you, hey, isn't Y unchristian of you, they're lying to you. They're gaslighting you. They don't care about the foundational principles, values of our faith, of Christianity. Because according to Don Lemon, he's a Christian, but Jesus wasn't perfect. There was no immaculate conception. God will issue no judgment, and he looks like a methed out terrorist. Do I have that about right?
You forgot that Joseph is gay.
Right.
You forgot that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Joseph is gay.
It's pretty important.
Yeah.
Pretty important fact that Jesus was raised by a gay stepfather.
Anyone want to sit in the pew at the Church of Don Lemon? Because he's going to let you know that, hey, look, I'm actually a better example of what a Christian is than these people in this church who support deporting illegal aliens. Take it from me, noted Christian theologian sodomite Don Lemon, who thinks that Jesus was imperfect, God issues no judgment, and Mary was a whore with a beard in Joseph. Take it from him. And if that's not enough for you, just yesterday, after he was making the case that he was a Christian and he was doing this right as a sort of thinly veiled defense against breaking the law, he then went on a live stream and did a live ad read for the Freedom From Religion Foundation.
This episode of the Don Lemon Show is brought to you by the Freedom From Religion Foundation. Equality under the law only works when the government stays neutral. The First Amendment wasn't written to protect one religion. It was written to protect all of us. And right now, that promise is under threat from Christian nationalists who believe their beliefs should control everyone else's beliefs and everyone else's lives.
Can we also just put this to bed? That's not true. That's not true. This idea like, well, the founders actually wanted to protect all religions equally. No, the freedom to worship. But you do understand that at that point in time, they probably didn't have a chip in their brain for a religion like Islam getting a foothold here. This was largely about the separation of church and state for people who misquote the Constitution. It's about denominations, right? Protection from the Church of England, that you'll be free to practice your largely Protestant denomination in this country. If I'm being honest, I think the founding fathers, they probably wouldn't have had a problem with, things like Buddhism or Baha'i churches, the stuff that doesn't matter. They'd be like, what? So you basically, okay, so you just kind of sit there and you don't believe in heaven or hell and you do your own, it's like kind of like a Quaker. All right, whatever.
No. If they had heard, oh yeah, we're going to protect, this is for Islam too, right? They'd be like, what?
You mean the pirates?
No, I said all men are created equal. Men.
Yes.
Human beings.
Yeah, wait, hold on a second. Your religion requires subjecting us. Your religion requires subverting our laws. You're not trying to start a new political party, are you? Let's hang them, please. That's what they would have done, to be clear. And we just act as though all religions are equal. Not only as Christians do we not believe that all religions are equal. As Christians, you have to believe there's one and only one path to God, to salvation, because that's what our faith requires of us. But we also don't believe that they're all equal in practice. There are religions, there are faiths that are far more corrosive and violent in the real world than others. The founding fathers were smart enough to know that. This brings us to now. Don Lemon claimed that the Minnesota churchgoers he was assisting and harassing. Well, the real reason for it, and the reason he's in the right, is because they were privileged white supremacists.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy.
She looks like a medium who even ghosts don't want to talk to.
For them, that it is a Christian country when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. Nobody believes that. And that lady looks like an inside-out avatar for solitude. Everything about her is piercing and cold.
He is so completely ignorant.
Yes.
On every turn. At every turn. He is completely ignorant. And
I wish I had that confidence, though. I wish I had the confidence to say something. Yeah. So I just say things that are ignorant and then immediately go, shit.
Well, there are people like the overall lady that nod and go, hey. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet, since it's St. Paul, that there were, minority worshipers in that church. And I'm pretty sure the viral picture of the mom comforting her child was an Asian woman.
It definitely was. And it looked like a Middle Eastern, or it looked like a brown woman behind them. Yeah. A couple pews back.
Is she white by proxy, or how does this work?
Well, it's a very good point, though, that he is completely ignorant and seldom, outside of Brian Stelter, that's why CNN is just sort of this, it's this Marvel sort of spring of no talent. Where
thinking of DC.
I guess you dodge enough HIV bullets and you think you're invincible. And I guarantee you, I've been around enough of these green rooms. As a gay black man, no one would be questioning him in the green room. He would espouse something just as dumb as you've just heard, and people go like, yeah, that's the good point. Yeah, you should say that on air, right? Because we're all tolerant.
I would say that too, but I'd be like, yeah, you should say that.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You should say that on national TV.
He's like, yeah, no, this is good. Yeah, Jesus was imperfect. God doesn't judge. And Mary was a whore, right? And I was like, yes, you are a brave sodomite black man. We all are. We have your backside.
I yield my time, Don. Go ahead, say that.
There's a whole lot of dudes with "Only God Can Judge Me" tattoos that are really going to have to rethink their.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, we went from "Only God Can Judge Me" to "Well, God doesn't judge." Okay, so I guess there is no judgment whatsoever. It's going to be a rude awakening when the gavel comes down and says guilty. Now, Lemon also had a meltdown after getting, I guess you would say, put on blast by none other than Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj is not a Christian. She knows nothing about Christian. What she is a grifter. Nicki Minaj is a pick-me. And she's not African-American.
Pick-me.
I think she's from the islands. She is a black woman, but she doesn't understand the African-American struggle, so to speak. And if she did, she wouldn't be doing this and saying this on Martin Luther King Day, on the Martin Luther King holiday of all days.
How dare you?
Putting that out. Nicki Minaj doesn't care about black people. She does't care about gay people. Those are two of her biggest supporters and the people who make her rich. And if I was, as I should say, if I am, as a black and gay person, I'm not supporting her. And now she is calling a gay man a cocksucker. That's homophobia. She is an
No, it's facts,
pick
actually.
me, and I choose not to pick her.
How is that homophobic? It sounds like a descriptor.
Yeah, that's like, it's who you are. It's your,
Yeah.
dare I say
Your
it,
hobby.
Left, it's your identity.
Right. I mean, how many times did he say that? As a gay man, as a black man. So, like, you're
It's all
basically
you talk
saying
about.
as a cocksucker is what you're saying. Like, these are synonyms.
How can you be ignorant and inarticulate and be an anchorman?
Well, I don't know, but I do like that they have something in common, him and Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. And
They both like to suck on the things.
On
but,
the wings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Also, pick me girl. How you a pick me girl when you're married?
the other thing, too,
What
is
is
he
that?
says
Doesn't make
she
any
only
sense.
cares about who made her rich. Hey, Don Lemon, let me ask you, who made you rich?
Uh-huh.
Was it gay black man? Or was it largely, guilty, privileged white women? The people who tune into
Ted
CNN
Turner.
in the daytime. Let's be honest. This is one thing. They'll always apply standards to other people. And here's the thing. I also understand the argument. For example, I was one of the few people when Nala Ray came out, and now she runs a ministry. And, I was blowing 50 men in an hour last week. But now please buy my Bible course. I think that people should sit down for a while, sit down in church and learn, and should not be in a position of leadership. Here's why I will defend Nicki Minaj here. And by the way, I have no dog in this fight. It's not my style of music. But I will say, Nicki Minaj did not simply become a gimmick, a Christian. She's not a preacher. She's not selling a Bible course. She still is in the same line of work. And Nicki Minaj, by the way, has been a Christian for a long time, meaning she's been on this journey for a while. And if she wants to espouse her opinion, she's not placing herself on an altar. It's simply someone who's evolved as a human being over the course of the last 10, 12 years. Here's a clip of Nicki Minaj in 2015 thanking her pastor after winning a VMA.
Oh, this is so random. You know who I want to thank tonight? My pastor.
Oh my God, is ridiculous.
I love you so much.
That's AI.
I want to thank my pastor, the cameraman.
Yeah.
A+.
The difference is she's not saying that she is a pastor. And I don't think she's an ambassador for Christianity, but she's allowed to espouse her opinion because she's not positioning herself in a role of leadership. She's now talking about how she grew up attending church 3 days a week growing up. She's been coming back to the faith. So Don Lemon wants to discount that while he engages in daily degeneracy and violates people's First Amendment rights. Nicki, to her credit, responded quite quickly, releasing this midnight diss track.
Yeah. Order in the court, please. Miss Judge on the mic. Bring the choir in. Ay, Don Lemon in the back row. Fake fur, tight pants, and a weak glow. Tryna preach, but he reading from a talk show. Facts all wobbly, stunting for the B-roll. Oh, you ain't Peter, you ain't Paul. Those are just the guys you cracked at the mall. Right before you pulled up at a church hall. Don't blame the Christians and act appalled. Sunday service, families made prayer. Here you come, put my mic on air. Turn the pulpit to a press event. Now the bailiff taking evidence. Don Lemon, why you so bitter? Crying like a little bitch on Twitter. Unwatchable like Jennifer Welch. Gonna have to start a new show from a cell.
That one slaps, as the children say.
Yeah, not bad for such short notice.
It's not bad. Which brings us to, hey, our charge is coming. By the way, all signs point to yes, to be clear. And the best way to stay in touch, like I've told you, download the Rumble app, follow me there, because there's no way that this stuff is going to be airing on YouTube. So after what happened at the church on Sunday in Minnesota, Assistant AG Harmit Dillon made it pretty clear that the DOJ is going to be pursuing, and not just Don Lemon, but the people who organized the storming of the church with really the full weight of the law.
This is going to get the highest attention from the Department of Justice because there is no more sacred right in our Constitution than the right to assemble and pray to God. And there are federal laws that protect that right. And what happened here was a shameful exercise of virtue signaling, disruption, fear, terror. And this is illegal. And I want to add, before people start spazzing about the First Amendment, that the Biden administration prosecuted people peacefully praying outside abortion clinics for much, much less, prosecuted them under conspiracy statutes, under the Klan Act, which I also have jurisdiction over at the DOJ. And so the people who did this made a big, big mistake, whoever they are. This will be met with the full force of the United States Department of Justice, as the Attorney General has directed.
And she posted more about that on X. And this comes down to, hey, okay, First Amendment includes their right to peaceably assemble. I know rice. There are Chinese churches.
You have the right to rice. You can eat all you want.
This is a house of the Lord.
If you have no rice, it will be appointed to you.
Do you see when Jesus feed the 5,000, turn the 2 fish into 5 billion rice?
Lane?
Surprisingly, I can't do a very good Asian accent. They all just turn into an angry Japanese.
I can't do a good Asian accent, just to do good Asian lady.
What you need is more rice.
I bless a rice, a holy rice. Holy rice. Holy rice.
Everybody's
coughing.
Not me.
It's some plague going around.
I was choking on rice. A piece of it stuck back there.
Korean Jesus is not so happy.
Yeah, they're talking about surfer Jesus. Don Lem's talking about surfer Jesus and didn't mention Korean Jesus.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
He has no problem with jacked Korean Jesus, but to be fair, no one does.
Korean Jesus is so stacked.
He eat all the rice. It's a protein rice. I was like, yeah, we got a show to do here.
Yeah, it's true. I'm a child. So,
why does she say things like spaz out in the First Amendment? What is that? What is that comment?
I don't know. I honestly.
At least she's being. Didn't she do the Hindi prayer for the RNC opening or something? She took some flack for that.
I think Gerald talked to her about it at the RNC.
Yeah.
He's like, not cool. So,
yeah. What did she say? She's like,
well,
different
it's not
stroke.
a church service, and Gerald's like, yeah, but you can see why people wouldn't love it.
I think Gerald will surprise you where he's like, he's really nice. He's like, I don't like your godless religion.
And her security removed the large man asking the questions.
So big, must have eaten many rice. So,
Gerald's racist.
First, yeah.
He's also That's not here to defend himself.
After I'm doing this accent.
Somewhere right now, Gerald was watching this on his phone. He's like, son of a... you're still here on YouTube. Remember when we could say whatever we wanted on YouTube? And people didn't have to censor out words like gay? See, even that, right? That's not even a swear word. Or the word sex. Even if you're just talking about it, you're not saying anything profane. That's why I live stream on Rumble 5 days a week. Go subscribe over there on Rumble, where you get the live show every single day. If you're still using this archaic form of delivery for information on YouTube, I don't want to judge, but your father hates you.